Welcome to Mentoring Mindset with your hosts, Rob Sarney and Farah Narkowitz. We're here to get you ready for the most awesome Fintech mentoring program in the country. Let's get started. Well, welcome everybody. You're in for a treat today. I'm here to talk with Farah Narkowitz, and we're going to explain, like you heard in the intro, we're going to explain about the mentoring program at Mass Fintech Hub. So first, I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to hand off to Farah. So my name's Rob Sarney. I was previously a professor of practice in Fintech at WPI, and I was at Fidelity Investments before that for 23 years, and I worked for 31 years. So right now I'm just focusing heavily on Mass Fintech Hub. So Farah, take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Farah Narkowitz. I'm the Marketing and Events Manager for the Stephen D. Cutler Center for Investments and Finance at Babson College. I've been here for 7 years now. Babson is obviously known for entrepreneurship, but we have a large quantity of students at our undergraduate school who actually go into the finance industry upon graduation. And so for us, finance is that perfect intersection of entrepreneurship to equal Fintech. So very excited to be here today to talk to you guys all about the Mass Fintech Hub Mentor Program.
Oh, that was great, Farah. So now we'll give you a little overview of Mass Fintech Hub. So you know, and some of you might already know a lot of things we're going to talk about, but I bet you a lot of you don't. So first, Mass Fintech Hub, I think this tells it a lot. You know, it's about bringing together the fintech community. So Massachusetts can be the fintech capital of the world. And we're working hard. Farah and I are working hard with a whole team and also with other work streams, which I'll talk about in 2 minutes. Farah, do you have anything to add on top of all that?
I think really just for students, this is a really incredible opportunity for you to get connected with those from the industry who are willing to take the time out of their schedule to sit and mentor you. So I think taking advantage of that is really important, but also taking advantage of all the other programs and events and opportunities that Mass Fintech Hub has to offer is going to be super beneficial for students, especially knowing that the goal of Mass Fintech Hub is to take Boston and turn it into the next Silicon Valley. So anytime there's something happening in Massachusetts, you want to make sure that you are going to be there and being able to utilize those opportunities.
That's great, Farah. Thank you. And kind of show the ecosystem that we touch too. So we hit the full ecosystem here at Mass Fintech Hub. That's what's really unique about this. Any other fintech kind of supporting area for any state in the United States. So we work with startups and industry, academia, investors, students, the public sector, so the government side of it. And it started back in January 2020, all during COVID, did a lot of virtual events, and now we're doing a lot of events in person too. So it's been really fun. Farah, you've been involved with all this stuff. Do you have anything to add to all this?
Again, I think just being able for students when they see an opportunity happening within the state through Mass Fintech Hub, if they're able to tune in, attend, be a part of it, do so because it's an opportunity to meet as many people as possible and to meet some really influential names within the space.
That's great, Farah. So I'm going to talk about the work stream that Farah and I and a team of about probably 12 other people, we all work together and across many universities. So we're the talent, culture, and diversity work stream. And so some of the events that we put on for the last 4 years, we do FinTech Career Fair. Some of you might have been to that, some of the mentees. We do boot camps. We try to do that at different schools. We've done it at Babson in Boston. We've done it at WPI. We've done it at Stonehill and in Western New England. And then the mentoring program, which you're all involved in now. So we try to reach out to as many students possible across New England. On these events, Farah, you've been involved in organizing and cranking these out. What would you like to add to all this?
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that a lot of this stuff that we're doing sort of planning behind the scenes. There is a group of people from other academic institutions, from different local fintechs, financial firms, that we're all sort of coming together to put on a program that we think is going to best benefit students who are attending. So there's a lot of time and effort that goes into behind the scenes and making sure that these programs are easily accessible for students in terms of not only when we're scheduling them on the calendar, but making it accessible for them to attend in person. So whenever we're doing stuff, programs and events like this, we want to make sure we are getting a solid turnout from our students, because again, this is all for the students.
Yeah, and I want to say for this mentoring program going on now, the cohort that's going to start all this out, I want to say we have about 14, 15 different schools across New England even that are involved here too. So very, very cool stuff. And we get to do it all year round. Okay, so here, I mean, here's we've had 5 career fairs, 5 boot camps, 3 mentoring programs. This is our 4th time doing the mentoring program, and there's other great events. We have angel investing, which is outside of the work stream that Farah and I work on, and we also have angel education, and we bring together Fintech and with a Fintech forum. So there's lots of things going on here at Mass Fintech Hub that you can get involved in to meet the community. Again, Farah, you've been to events in our work stream and outside of our talent work stream. What would you like to add to this?
And I would really like to add just a quick plug for Boston FinTech Week, because I think that is an incredible event for both students and mentors to attend, not only possibly as a pair, but just to be able to hear from some of the big names from within the industry, whether they are locally here to Boston, across the country, but also a great spot to hear some up and coming newer faces who are starting to make waves within the industry. And there's tons of opportunities throughout the week to interact and network with one another. So again, if this is something that you're super passionate about and trying to figure out how do you get into the industry on, this is the event that you want to be attending.
Yeah, and to second that too, I think those unbelievable points. If you're not excited about this, get excited. This is at your fingertips. You can really meet so many from any place across the ecosystem, from all the people we were talking about, from investors to government to your peers across many schools. It's a great, great organization. So get involved and take a look at these programs. Okay, so Farah and I are going to give you some tips and coaching on mentoring. We've been around the block a little bit. I know Farah's run mentoring programs at Babson. I've done it at Fidelity, and also and Farah and I worked closely together on the 3 other times we've done this mentoring program. So we're going to hit the different items. How about this? I'm gonna throw a curveball at you, Farah. So how about when we hit these items? I'll go first. I'll hit about the mentors, and you can hit about the mentees if you have tips
Okay,
on these topics. You ready? You ready to go for it? Hitting her
let's do
cold.
it.
Okay, so mentoring and sharing. I'm going to talk from the mentor standpoint. So at its real simplest, for all the mentors out there, it's about sharing your knowledge, your skills, and your experiences with these great students, with your mentee, and give them stories that they're not going to read about in any single textbook on how can they really excel at what they want to excel at throughout the fintech ecosystem. So you're there to help them, guide them, coach them in every single session, but more importantly, mentor them. And mentoring and coaching are 2 different things. They overlap a lot. Coaching is kind of a one and done, so you'll do multiple coaching sessions depending on the topic, but mentoring is more longer term. And it could be just for the 5 months we're doing this program, but a lot of times it still happens after those 5 months. That's my coaching to the mentors. What would you give on sharing from a mentee standpoint?
And from the student standpoint, I think there's 2 things. The first, obviously, there is a program contract that we'll talk a little bit more about in a few minutes, but ultimately being very straightforward with your mentor from the start in terms of what your goals and objectives are, I think is going to be crucial and critical to the relationship throughout these next few months. And then also being prepared with an agenda every time you're coming to meet and helping lead that conversation so that you are getting out of it what it is that you want and having that open line of communication with your mentor.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay, so here's one from the mentor standpoint. So, and Farah will go deeper into this. So the mentee drives it, and I'll let Farah talk about that. So your responsibility as a mentor, as much as you humanly can, when a meeting is needed by your mentee, or they really need to talk to you because they may have an interview coming up and they want to try some of the things that you've been coaching them on, be there for them if you can. The mentee is going to drive the relationship in the meetings, but be there when you can and be prepared and hold your mentee accountable to tell you what the topic is for the meeting. So you can be prepared, so then you can really help them very quickly and concisely for that meeting. Because I know time is of the essence, and because you're all big executives, you got a lot going on. So the crisper, the better, to really help these mentees. Now, what do you want to add on the mentee side?
And I think the biggest thing is, again, making sure you're coming prepared to each meeting as the student, prepared with things to talk about with your mentor, whether that is in regards to an article that you read, an upcoming interview, want to work on your resume, having all of those talking points bulleted out and shared with your mentor in advance.
Okay, from the mentee standpoint, which goes hand in glove with being prepared, tell your stories to your mentee. Pull those out, the ones that are applicable to the topic at hand. You have so many great experiences. So share those, tell your stories, because they're not going to get that from anywhere else. They're going to, and help them as much as possible by really fine tuning and getting those stories for the right topic, for the right moment, for what they're really thinking of. Because you can tell them facts and what they should be doing, but hearing your stories is the magic of mentoring. Well, what do you have to add on the mentee side on that?
And I think some really good talking points and bullet points for some meetings that the students can sort of bring to the table is asking their mentor for specific examples of when they had to work with a specific challenge or when they overcame an obstacle, and really asking some really key pointed questions to their mentor. That way their mentor can really share those real life experiences so that they can understand sort of how things have worked in the industry.
That's great. Okay, I'm going to give you one to the mentors too. As you tell your stories, be a little vulnerable, right? Even great athletes, they go through hardships. Great executives, the great ones in industry had catastrophic failures. Tell your stories about your failures. Plus, it helps the mentee see that, wow, this big executive, this really senior person also had trouble with the same topic and how they wrestled through it. So be a little vulnerable and share those stories and how it impacted you, how'd you get through it, how hard it was for you. Share all that because that really helps the mentee get arms around and also makes them feel better with because they're wrestling with it. They're not the only ones wrestling with X, whatever that topic is. So that's my coaching to the mentors on that one.
And I think for the students, again, it's asking their mentors for some of those specific examples and really understanding where their hardships were, what failures they had, how they overcame that. And again, the students too, if they have some of those experience, sort of share them with their mentor to get some advice or feedback about how to handle a situation or how they could have handled the situation better.
Right, right. And I would add a little bit to that also for the mentees, you be a little vulnerable. When talk about what you tried to do and how you failed, share that with your mentor because that will get them thinking of other stories because there's a million ways to succeed and there's a lot of different types of ways of failure too. So share that with your mentor because they might pick out a very different story based on that too. So you be a little vulnerable too. Okay. From a mentor standpoint, kind of goes hand in glove with a lot of things. Ask your questions, right? You know, and teaching and when I was at Fidelity, I used to tell my team and I used to tell my students, you know, ask questions. Your questions tell me about you more than your answers. So, from the mentor standpoint, ask those clarifying questions so you really understand what they're going through. Maybe ask them how they feel if they're not being, very vulnerable, or telling them how it really, got them nervous to do something. Ask them those questions. Ask them those hard questions to really, so you can pull out that right story. The only way to do it, ask your questions, ask them all. So you really understand the situation so you can get the best coaching possible based on what you know. What do you think, Farah?
I think for the students, it's again asking as many questions to their mentor as possible about anything and everything that they're interested in. And again, I think coming into it, knowing what your goals and objectives are and continuing to work on those meeting after meeting, month after month is going to be really important.
Absolutely, right. Definitely knowing those goals. I love that one. Okay, so here's a big one for the mentors, right? So you're gonna your mentee is gonna be a little vulnerable. They're gonna tell you about some stories. They're gonna tell you about how they had a challenge at some place, right? Because they want to learn how to get better at that challenge, whatever it was. So be a vault, right? Whatever is said in the mentoring session stays in the mentoring session, unless your mentee says, "Yep, it's okay. You can share that with your network or whatever it is, or executives to help you if it makes sense." So be a vault. Keep it in the vault, right? What happens in the mentoring session stays in the mentoring session, and unless you both agree, it's okay if it comes out. What
And
do you
again, for the students, really understanding that these are private conversations that you're having with your mentor and understanding that what you're hearing that they might be talking about from their industry, their company, it's not necessarily up for the public domain to know. But again, you guys are in a very close relationship, and what you discuss should remain between the two of you.
That's outstanding. Okay, networking for the mentors. One of the big thing that I think you really can help because these mentors, you're so connected, you're in the ecosystem, you've done a lot of things, you've done a lot of great things. Your network is probably the most valuable thing that you can help your mentee with. Share your network if you think it's appropriate, right? With your mentee. So it might be something that you're not an expert in that they want to know about. Maybe you know someone that is an expert. Help them out. Do that networking. So it's so important, and I think networking is probably the big X factor that can really propel your mentees to get the goals that they want to go after.
And I think on the student side, it's super important to understand who's in your mentor's network. And again, don't be afraid to ask questions, ask for introductions if there's something that you want to learn more about or someone that you're interested in that they're connected to. Again, it's asking questions, being curious, and trying to meet as many people as possible.
Yep, that's great. Yeah, that's where you're going to get the power in this program, I think. Okay, so here's some things that definitely on the mentor side, right? So it's you're going to learn a lot about your personal brand because as you tell your stories, you're going to see the themes that you talk about yourself and the stories that you've had, and remind yourself on some of the great things and great challenges you've accomplished. Learn and grow. How you really focus on learning and growing in your career. And by doing this mentoring program, it really hones your leadership skills. Now you're hearing from a mentee, you're hearing about maybe different challenges that you've ever had before, but they might be similar answers to those challenges that you had in your career. And it gives you a great perspective as you go back to where you're working and you understand that Gen Z area because it really helps your leadership skills. And then also it feels great when you see your mentee follow what you said or tried hard to follow what you said. and it's successful, it feels great. That's like the best, right? When that happens for a mentor. So all these great benefits are happening as a mentor. And you're probably when I've mentored, I think I learn more than the actual mentee because I just learn more and more about life and how, you know, the challenges that are out there for, for folks like my mentee. What do you think, Farah?
And I think this is a great opportunity for the students themselves to work with their mentor and help figure out how they can build their own personal brand and for them to understand how they can learn and grow as a student and a young professional and can learn about some key leadership skills, even just regular technical skills that they should be learning to be good at with whatever career path or sector industry that they want to get into. So again, it's trying the students, it's really important for you to spend time figuring out those agendas, ask those questions, and really just try to absorb as much information as possible out from your mentor.
So now, some more detailed expectations of the mentoring program. Hopefully that coaching and tips that Farah and I just shared with you helps you a lot. But this is going to take things to the next level and things that really has to happen. So Farah, take it away because you have a great guide you want to share with them and go over a few very important things.
So the first piece of information I want to go over is the mentoring program contract. And this is a contract that all students need to complete and send back to Mass Fintech Hub and then ultimately share it with your mentor. And so by signing off on this, you are basically agreeing to be a part of this program where you are agreeing to commit X amount of time over the next X a couple of months with your mentor, and also really understanding that you are treating your mentor like a business meeting and that this is a top priority. You have open communication with them. You are coming prepared. You are honoring their schedule, their time, and that you are putting 100% into this. So it's really important that you are sharing your goals and objectives for the program from the beginning so that you're both sort of on the same page as to what you're expecting to get out of this. The second piece of information is the mentor programming guide. And so this is a really great quick guide that you can reference throughout the length of the program. So if you're looking specifically for ideas as to what to talk about, as well as how that will work with the schedule, this will literally outline the months when you need to complete a task, which is ultimately meeting with your mentor, but also will go into really big depths as to what you should be talking about on your first meeting, your second meeting, additional talking points down the road. And there's also a really nice example that's laid out if you need some more definitive planning. But again, this is ultimately what the student wants to make of this program. What we're providing is just a guide. You are not required to use it. It's there if you want it. It's a blueprint. But if you want to go in down a different path, a different road, because you are looking for something specific that you are interested in, go for that. But this is all here to act as a guide for you so that you are getting the most out of this program.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Farah. Okay, so for some upcoming events. So first things first, get your contract done. Get it, get it signed, get it back to, you should have received at least a couple emails from Mass FinTech Hub if you haven't done it already. Get your contract in, because that's really showing you're committing to this process, and it's important because the mentor's time's valuable, the mentee's time is so valuable. We need that contract. So, and Farah, would you have anything to add on the contract side on the importance of it?
I think it's just really important to understand and outline your goals and objectives from the get-go. That way you and your mentor are on the same page from the start.
So, so that's a very important upcoming event. Now, so for some other events that are coming up, and we still don't have exact dates on it yet, but we'll be sending out a video on personal branding. That's going to help your mentoring process because it's kind of hard to understand where you want to go if you really don't understand yourself and understand your own personal brand. So we have a video we're going to be sending it out to help to explain that. I think that will help the mentors also. So it'll be sent to both sides, the mentor and the mentee. And there's probably some great discussion points in that video that you're going to receive that will be great for you to talk about with your mentor and your mentee. So that's one event coming up. Another event coming up would be that we're also planning on doing a focus on the resume and how to really get your resume really top notch. This is obviously this is for the mentees. It could be for the mentors too, but it will really get into some of the really nuts and bolts to help you. I think things that you don't hear from your career centers too. So it's really being shared from a hiring manager standpoint and things that I've seen from a professor standpoint. And there'll always be a closing ceremony that we're going to be doing at the end in right mid-April. That'll be virtual too. And that's where we kind of come together. You get a certificate for accomplishing this this great program. You can put it on LinkedIn. The mentors can too, mentees and mentors, just to show that, hey, you participated in this great program from a FinTech focus. Now, Farah, are there any other events? I don't think I hit them all that I should have hit. Is there anything I missed?
And more to come in the spring, but we'll also talk about the next boot camp that'll be coming up. There's other work streams that will have different program, whether it's related to angel investing or some speakers from the industry. And then just also a quick plug for students to definitely make sure that you're following Mass FinTech Hub on social media, both on LinkedIn and then also on Instagram, specifically at mass.fintechhub.
So that's great. Yeah, absolutely. Get involved, get busy. You're really gonna love Mass FinTech Hub. You're gonna love this mentoring program, but you're really gonna love this connecting to that full ecosystem. Now, for other potential upcoming events, what we've seen, sometimes a mentoring pair just doesn't work. Sometimes either the mentor is so busy or the mentee so busy and they're not connecting and they're not meeting. If you need any help on either side, the mentor or the mentee, reach out to Mass FinTech Hub. Reach out to Farah and myself. We will help you any way possible. And so definitely let us know early and often, because if we know early enough, if things aren't working out, well, we'll try to match on either side, the mentor or the mentee, to another person, because things sometimes life gets in the way and people have great aspirations and it just doesn't work out. Farah, you've probably seen that in the past. What do you recommend to the mentors and the mentees when that happens?
Yep, I think it'll be really important for the students to, number one, try to work with your mentor to figure out if there's a way to work on if there's a scheduling issue or questions about what your goals and objectives are. But again, if you have any concerns, definitely reach back out to Mass FinTech Hub. That way we can get involved and try to figure out if we need to make a swap or what those next steps would be.
Yep, absolutely. So if you smell something brewing, reach out early and often. Hey, we're here to help. That's why we're overseeing this program, and we're going to make sure it's the best experience you're going to have. You're going to love it. You really are. Okay, and I think we already went through the next steps. So that's from Wicked, by the way, if you didn't know that. So hey, thank you everybody. Thank you, Farah, for your great insights and sharing it with all the mentors and mentees. Any parting words for this great crowd?
I think, again, get those contracts in, make sure you're showing up to your meetings prepared with agenda items and things to talk about. And again, this is an opportunity for you to make the most of this program. So hopefully you are going to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Farah. Great having this conversation and sharing with all our mentees and mentors. So everybody, have a great time and really enjoy the program and take full advantage of it. Thank you so much. Bye now. Thank you for listening to Mentoring Mindset, sponsored by Mass Fintech Hub. Mass Fintech Hub brings the full fintech ecosystem to your fingertips. And to get connected with the fintech leaders of the world, go to massfintechhub.com and look at the events and all the great people you can meet, so you can have fintech fun.